There was once a king who had a big country, many followers, a lot of cities, and Baruch Hashem, he built a very big empire. It came one day when this king, for various reasons, this king had to leave his palace. He had to leave the place where he would be amongst his Am. And he told his child, the prince, while I'm away, please make sure to take care of all the regular business and all the day-to-day ongoings of what this kingdom accomplishes on a day-to-day level. The king left the palace and had to go, and he went and he traveled away. The king said, don't worry, very shortly, in a very short period of time, I will be back. But while I'm gone, please take charge. The king traveled, and the affairs were ongoing. And it came time for the king to return. But there was one problem. The problem was that the thoroughway leading back to the kingdom, leading back to the palace and the city where the king lived, where the palace was, the thoroughway had a bridge. And this bridge, unfortunately, had some difficulties, and it collapsed, and it needed to be restructured and rebuilt. The prince being in charge, the prince had to gather many folks, many townspeople to come and help build this, what was a very big bridge. And he gathered many people, and they all came and they started to build the bridge. The bridge was full of many columns and many sections. And as they were building the bridge, people started to notice, the people building and the people around started to notice how beautiful is this bridge, this gewaldig, this oyster gewela. And they started to be mafli and speak about, this is great, this is wondrous, look at this column and look at that column and look at this design of bricks and look at that design of bricks and look how great this is. And they were nearing completion because the king got gehalt ut. But because there were many people who gathered around and they were being mafli, the bridge, what ended up happening was the townspeople and all the builders got busy with discussing the greatness and amazingness of the bridge. And there was only one section left. And that section was left to be built. The people started to discuss, how should we build it? What should we do? What should it be? What color should it be? What bricks should it be? For whatever reason, either because they were busy being mafli, the amount that they built until then, or because they were busy discussing what could it be, or because they were busy discussing what could it be that should be the design and how should it be the last column, the last section of the bridge. So it started to take time and they started to slack off and it started to delay. Rabbi say, we heard just now from Rabbi Lipsker, we heard over the last many hours, many speakers, Baruch Hashem, Chabad, durchgetan, und aufgetan, in Nasach, inyan, in buildings, and in mifzoyim, and in alle inyanim. But the completion, for whatever reason, has not been finished. There still is one section. There still is one section where we obviously need to accomplish and finish the bridge that our king, the Mashiach, will come in, and we should finish it off. And the shaila is, what is this last column? The Rebbe told us, tut als was you can. Like Reb Zalman mentioned, I'm Reb Zalman's age. I can't sit here and tell you like all the other speakers. I was standing on a bench and the shock that I have. I can't even tell you that I was on a hookup listening. I was only 5.5, 6 years old. I wasn't even listening on a hookup. I'm a simple chayte v'itzecha v'shoyim memecha that only read the Sicha years later when I picked up a Tafshin and Aleph, maybe when I was 12, 13, the storm that was made in Cheder. I wasn't there. I don't feel the shock. But I read the Sicha and I ponder Shloishim Shana. It's 30 years. What could we do? The Rebbe told us that soll gefinnen eine, zwei, was soll sich an Eitze geben. I would like to humbly submit a Eitze, was can sein, what could be the last column to the bridge where Melech HaMashiach could descend and we could finally finish all the storms that we need to make on Chavches Nissen year after year and finally finish these storms. And that point I would like to bring out with a story. There was once this chassid. It's a story about a chassid with a Rebbe, like the Rebbe would call him a Gute Yid. There was this chassid who had a grocery store. And the chassid, Reb Gershon, was very, very successful in this grocery store. And it was known throughout the town that if you shopped in Reb Gershon's grocery, you were also giving to the Kupa Sa'ir tzedakah. You were giving a lot of tzedakah as well because Reb Gershon was such a about tzedakah that half his profits he gave to the Aniyah here. In this town in Poland, they started to move there. Many Yidden who were well-to-do, and they were matzliach in their parnasa, and they surrounded this grocery with their wealth. They bought houses and gardens. Al Kaponim, as it happened in those days, there was Yidden who unfortunately, because of the money and the nisayin of Ashirus, they started to succumb to the temptations of the Vel Tanach Sa'ela. And they started to live their life to the pleasures of the world. One particular gvir went so low that he couldn't fagin this frume Yid Reb Gershon, he can't fagin that he has this grocery and successful, and we're in this affluent neighborhood which the dog grace and mention with grace ashirin. And after a while, this Ashir, this gvir went midechi el dechi, and he decided, that's it. I'm going to put a stop to this once and for all. And it got a viel geld for him, so given a garnished. He ordered in, rented a space, made the most beautiful grocery, and he started to compete. And Reb Gershon shows up one day, and sie gewaren Tunkel auf der Eden. It became cheshech. What's going on over here? But he davened to the Eibishter that hopefully he has loyal customers, and all his customers know all about his stuff, and they're going to come to him. They're not going to go to this gvir, what he called a Russia, a masigvul. They're not going to go to his grocery. Al Koponim, this worked for a while, but the gvir of weiter he can't vergehen. This sinner was growing by him. He decided farmir se garnished. One bottle of soda cost me 50 cents. I'm going to make it 25 cents. Reb Gershon needs to sell it for chotch 75 cents. I'm going to make it 25 cents. And it's over. It's game over. The competition started to advertise, forget it. It's over. And slowly, this Russia, Ashir was Matzliach. Reb Gershon's business started to go down. And while he had some loyal customers, he wasn't making enough. He was not making enough to keep a profit and keep his business, his supermarket afloat. And what a chassid does is gegangen to sein Rebbe. At the time, I believe it was, he went to the Alexander. Al Kaponim, he comes to his Rebbe and he goes in and he tells his Rebbe all the kairos that went on with him, how he had good times, and now he's having this terrible Russia who parked next door to him, and he's masig vul, and he's bechlal not shemer teira mitzvahs verveisvos. So get done by him, and the Tsar was great. His Rebbe turns to him and says, after a while, he says, no. The chassid's waiting for him to give him a bracha that his supermarket should be much more successful. But the bracha he got was, Revach v'atzola yamid laYehudim mimakim acher. Go home, start a new business, and the Eibishter wird dir matzliach sein. He leaves, and after a few minutes, he runs back in. He says, what? Comes running back in, and there's a Rebbe, this guy's a Rosh Merusha. He's a massive bull. Sheltem, Azayim, Makoiles. His supermarket should go down, and mine should go up. I should have to go now to start a new business. I should start a new business. Give him a shelt, and that's it. And Shalom al Yisrael. And he turns to the chassid and he says, "Was? Es steht, as da 36, there are 36 Isurei Koris. And unless a person is over on all the 36 Isurei Koris, his neshama zicher had a connection." What he said, we know on Pichsidis, Zayid, Niter Ken, Niter Vil, v'chulu. But I'll go upon him this Alexander Rebbe turns to him and says, one of these Suri Karis is he should pour Shemen Amishcha on his head. One of these Suri Karis is he should offer Keteris. I don't think that he was over on these. You can never ever shelter Yid. You can came only shelter Nachayid. Go home, start a business, cook nishtafem, and you do yours, and you will be matzliach. The chassid went home. He started a new business, and not only was he able to give as much stock that he was able to give when he had a successful supermarket, he was able to give a lot more stock. And he chazered that what he appreciated was that not that he was able to get parnasa again, was the lesson that he learned as a Yid, a Rosh, was his masig gvul, Mishelt came on Nishtayid. Rabbi say, if I may humbly suggest one area, if I may humbly suggest one area where it may be that last column that we could collectively finish that bridge, I believe this is in the area of Ahavas Yisroel and Achdus Yisroel. There is a Sicha of the Rebbe, which is not so known. When it comes to learning the Sefer HaSichas, there's a big shturm, learning Tafshin and Aleph, and Beis, and the Letzte Sichas. There's a big shturm to learn Likutei Sichas, but there's a Sicha of the Rebbe in Tafshin Memtes. Parshas Emor, Tafshin Memtes, Ches Iyar, where the Rebbe discusses the inyan of nahagu kovoid zeh b'zeh. We're now in the time of Sfira Sa'imer, and the Rebbe ponders the concept of why did the Eibishter create the concept of machlekes? That's what the Rebbe asks. Why did the Eibishter create the concept of machlekes? It's a gewaltige Shaila. Machlekes? Okay, we can announce some Shayna mitzvahs. What's that from machlekes? Why did the Eibishter create such a bria of the concept of machlekes? Al Kopanim, the Rebbe says over there in that Sicha something that I believe is Teireh Chadasha. There are no Marim Mekemis on the Rebbe's husband. The Rebbe says that the inyan of machlekes is not chas v'sholem that it should bring to nahagu, kovoid, zebozeh. The inyan of machlekes is only to bring a person to nahagu, kovoid, zebozeh. That because someone challenges you with a difference of opinion, because you have a difference of opinion, therefore it brings you to a better space. It brings you to a better maskana. And the Rebbe says something over there, gewaldige Kevar. The Rebbe says that just like a star, when a star has an error on it, you have a document, and someone comes and says, oh, the document has problems with it. It may not be true. Zuyev. And what do you have to do? You have to be Mekayim the star. You have to go and ask the Eidim. And you have to be Mekayim the star and make sure that the star is true. The halacha is that the takeif of the star, the strength of the document becomes much more stronger after the error, after the ziyuf. The shalom after machlekes, says the Rebbe. I've never seen this anywhere else. There are no marim mekaymis in this part of the Sicha. Open it up, Sefer HaSichas Tov Shimon Tes, Ches Iyar, Parshas Emer. There are no marim mekaymis in this section where the Rebbe says that after machlekes, when there's shalom, the Rebbe says this shalom is a sachgresser. The nahagu, kovoid, zebozeh is a sachgresser. There is no secrets that when I was growing up, when Rem Zalman was growing up, there were a lot of hergeshim. The bridge was a little shuckled, nafkim otamuz. There were different hergeshim and different approaches, but mizol nor reden chiyuv, meken sagen, definitely amongst the Jungalai, the Bnei Shleishim, the Bnei Esrim, and the Bachrim, at least the Bachrim that I teach, and you see amongst Kinder and Bachrim, the Achdus that exists today is unprecedented. The Achdus that you see amongst the Jungalai and the younger generation is unprecedented. Keiner will nicht haben zu tun mit gar nichts, was hat zu tun mit nahagu, kovoid, zebozeh. There may be some pachim ktanim left. There may be some small areas left, but the emes is as yet der einer will us. And if the Rebbe told us tut alles was you can, I may humbly suggest as an eitzah that the Rebbe requested that we have to do more in this. One of the things, ironically, you see is that there are many inyanim that the Rebbe had gedarft areinführen. Rabbi Cousin, who lived in England, says about his time when it was time to go on release time. Release time. Amo, there were a few bachrim who said, medarf game, medarf nicht game, medarf lernen Torah. The Rebbe had closed the lights, as we know. And the Rebbe told Rabbi Cousin that Moshe Rabbeinu was mekane a bacher that closes his sefer 1 o'clock on Wednesday and goes on release time. And it took time. The Dars of Eisfir, the Rebbe to Eisgefir. Leibel Raskin was going down Kingston Avenue, and someone came over to him when he agreed to go to Morocco and was telling him, you sure? You crazy? You're going to go to Morocco? And Leibel Raskin started to answer him. Sicher, mit Arschach Miskashes ein zum Leben, wo der Rebbe geht führen. And the Rebbe, the Rebbe Raskin answered him. The way I heard the story, I didn't hear the exact ACS, but the Rebbe was walking not too far behind him. And the Rebbe heard this conversation. And later it was conveyed to Rebbe Raskin that the Rebbe had a lot of hana. The Rebbe had a lot of hana the way he answered it. We all know the challenges that existed in the late Yuds and the Chofs, and we saw Jem put out a wondrous video of Geshem Mendel Gerelik, is gegangen in Italy, a Russische Bocher mit amerikanische Mädel, and it was uphill. In Mifsoyim, the Snagdus, Amol that there was, more mibachutz, but to get it going, and everything, limud achsidis, kolas kilis, in shuls, not in shuls. Today, you go over to Yid, they're learning chsidis. Everything that the Rebbe Gemon, you go over to a Bacher and Yeshiva, you say, you know, you don't go on Mitzrayim, but you know it's the right thing to go on Mitzrayim. Yeah, it's the right thing to go on Mitzrayim. You go over to 70 Bacher, you say, you know it's the right thing to go, it's the right thing to go on release time. Maskin, but that is when yet when in Poil. Out of the Rebbe durchgeführt. There's one area where you could still go over to someone, and not like it's good to go on shlichus, it's good to go on release time, it's good to go on the same. There's still one area, only one area. If you think about this, it's very, very mind-boggling. There's only one area where you could go over to someone and they'll say, "No, I don't think I need to do that," and that is in this area of nahagu, kovoid, zebozeh. In this area of nahagu, kovoid, zebozeh, there's something is still able to come to you and not allow you to have that hanocha. All the other hanachas are taken care of. That planning again after saying ton out for the Rebbe Mont inyan Mashiach that was mentioned here that the Rebbe suggested himself. Al inyanim. Someone's going to argue today whether you need to learn inyan Mashiach. Someone could argue today whether you need to learn inyan Mashiach. There's only one area where a person still challenges you. You see it even when you teach Bachrim. I speak to Bachrim. You go to a Bach, you say, you know, this is the right thing to do. So, yeah. You know, this is the right thing to do. Yeah. You know, you're supposed to come on time. Someone's going to argue with you that Rebbe didn't want that. You should come to the Seder. But when a Bacher gets into a fight with someone, there's something comes. No, I have to give him back. This is the only area. It is the only area. And therefore, I want to humbly invite. I want to invite Chassidim and everybody. Someone today asked me, he said, I see you're speaking on the program. What are you going to be speaking about? So I told him the nakuda that I think I'm going to speak about. I was thinking about two different nakudas. He told me he remembers a hookup of a Chavches Nissen. I remember if it was in Gimel and Dalit, where they were storming about 2,000 Wasser Camp. Says the only thing he ever remembers from all the Chavches Nissen was that there was this chassid on the hookup. He was listening. He wasn't there by the Fabrein. There was a Yid in Kranitz, chassid, who got up and he said, when I heard this Sicha of Tutals Wasser Kent, I took out my phone book. Maybe there wasn't cell phones then. He took out his phone book, and any person that he had any loy nahagu kovoid zebozeh, he finished it off. He said, Rabbi, I'm done. Einer. And that's the only thing an acquaintance of mine shared with me. Rabbi say, if we find ourselves in a situation where we're making an upshernish, and there's one Yid who I'm not going to invite, or there's one Yid who I'm not going to invite. There's one Yid who, if he walks into my upshernish, I'm going to feel uncomfortable. Das ist nicht tut aus, was ihr kennt. Tut aus, was ihr kennt. The Rebbe didn't miss the Machlekes. The Rebbe pushed release time with Tzayim, Chabar aus his Shluchim. The Rebbe didn't miss the Machlekes. What we could do, this is the only one. Everything else, the Rebbe gave us the Teichis, the Brachis, the Mashke, everything. In this area, no. If there's people in your contacts of your phone that you dafke nicht, du kannst nicht reden mit sie, das ist nicht Mashiach. Ich gehe nicht rein in die Größe, ich rede nicht wegen der Größe Askoni, mit der Größe Menschen. I'm talking about us simple folk, as a choyte litzecha, b'shoyev meimecha. I'm talking about us simple people. You're a bacher in the hallway of your yeshiva, and you can't look at another bacher. You're a kid. You're a younger man. There should never, ever be someone that you cannot say good Shabbos to in your life. There should never, ever be someone that when you walk down the street, you need to turn your head, or even he needs to turn his head. This is the last bridge. This is the last column. Everything else, we heard, everybody's coming. Rabbi Lips just said everybody's coming. I can tell you now in Seating, the owner of Home Depot is coming and gave us a grant for the summer, and everybody's coming around the corner. And the survey that was done in Miami a couple of years back about how many people are coming to Chabad houses and involved in the einzige Yiddishkeit that people are acquainting themselves with. When you look around Seating and the other movements, that's it. The people want the MS, they have the MS. So what is it? What's this last column? If I may humbly suggest, the Rebbe said the Sicha in the year of Tavshin and Aleph, was is Tisna. But Tisna needs to become Tinase. And if you are above 35 or you're above 50 and you have people who you dafke don't talk to, und du hast das Sibbe wegen dem. There's a Rosh, there's Masig Gvul. I invite all Chassidim, elders, youngers, to understand Na'arim Pnei Zkenim Yalbinu. And I'll conclude with this. Na'arim Pnei Zkenim Yalbinu is looked at as a negative thing. So he's like chutzpah. I want to humbly suggest, as the Rebbe taught us, to look at everything in a chiyuv way. You know what Na'arim Pnei Zkenim Yalbinu really means? The Jugend of today, the Junge Light, and the Bachrim, and Chassidim, the youngers. Pnei Zkenim Yalbinu. Mir willen nicht kein Machlekes. Mir willen nicht kein nahagu kovoid zeh. Und wir tun das, und wir gehen manchmal sein tun das, und Baruch Hashem, sie geht, Michael, Choyel, Chabad as a whole, we put it behind us. The bridge is almost done. The bridge is almost done. And this area had so much to say to us over Corona with Rabbi Lazar Tzalain. This area is an area of us mir keninton, tut alfas ear miloshin kovoid. Treat people ear, nicht du. Tut alfas ear ken. Ayer is masig gvul. Ayer is a roshe. Ayer lept mit anochis ha'elam. That is what the Rebbe's call to us is, I believe. Take out your phone. Find a contact now. Peil Mamish. We have a lot of speakers, Ms. Mafli, the accomplishments, the Rebbe already said this, Mem Zayin, and this is the Rebbe's lead up out. But I invite you to a Peil Mamish. Take out your phone and call someone who you aren't comfortable with and tell him, finished. Finished. We're building the last column. L'chaim Sidim, L'chaim Shluchim. We know that without a doubt, this will be the last brick for the bridge when our Rebbe will be able to ride over the bridge and greet us, the prince. We are the prince. Each and every one of us is a ben yochid of the Rebbe. And we will be able to tell the Rebbe it was challenging. It was hard. We had a decade of Hergeshim. We had a couple of decades where we were getting it together, but we did it. L'chaim, l'chaim. Zolmen zeiche sein that even before the end of this Farbrengen, we should have many, many Chassidim just embrace each other, welcome each other. Chas v'sholem, not fight with each other. And that, without a doubt, will be the tut als was ihr kennt, lahavi limeisa Mashiach. Chaim, chaim.